This video is going to be just a bunch of little odds and ends that I've mentioned to other people in passing. Here I have a piece of ginger root that I planted. I just bought the ginger root from the grocery store, and it's doing pretty well. Something's eating it up. I came out here the other day and there was a little worm on it, and so the worms tend to like it. And there was a little black worm I've never seen before. And Vivian R. in South Carolina said that she tried to grow 2 in pots and hers rotted. And the thing that I did different was I left the ginger root sitting out on my counter for about a week before I planted it. And it looked like it was about to sprout when I planted it. And I didn't plan on doing it that way. It just happened. I had to wait for it to stop raining. But it's come up, and I have the one here, and then there's 3 more that are sprouting. So you can sprout ginger root from a piece of ginger root from the grocery store. Just have to show you this asparagus. Look at the size of that thing. It's like a tree trunk. And there's another one back there that's like it. These asparagus are just huge. Here's my broccoli that's going to seed, and I'm starting to question the wisdom of trying to save my own seeds, because these things are just taking forever to go to seed, and the time that they're holding up that planting space, I could be growing something else there. I mean, I can go down to the store right now and buy another pack of seeds for like $1. So if I was in a situation where I had to save my seeds, I think I would have a little garden off to the side somewhere specifically for seed saving, because I would like to plant some purple hull peas in there, and I believe that tomorrow I'm going to yank those things up and get the peas started. I've mentioned these grapevines to a couple of people. I'm trying to grow some grapevines on my picket fence, and I think I planted about 8 or 9 out here in front of it. But this is how they're doing so far. They've grown about 7 feet off in each direction. I'm trying to grow them in a 2-arm system, and I hope that I have them pruned right. There's a lot of information out there on pruning grapevines after they're established, but I haven't found a whole lot of information about how to get them started. So I'm kind of winging it with this one. And the one on the corner, I'm trying to grow 1 arm out to the left, and I let several grow off to the right because I want to train it up over this arch. And most of what you see there are green bean vines, but I do have one branch of the grapevine has reached the top. It's just about as long as those green beans. So I'm not sure how many vines would you run over this? Because I'm not sure how it's going to branch out next year or in the future years. So I kind of like to get some advice on that one. I could trim off everything except for the one that's reached the top so far. I don't want to get, I know if it gets too heavy it'll crush that little arch. I just kind of wanted this one for looks more than for function. My peanut plants have emerged, and as you can see, when they first come up, they're rather large plants, and I had pretty good germination rate with them. It looks like just about every one that I planted came up, and these will be a lot of fun to watch. I have finally finished putting a little rabbit fence around my garden. I hope this will keep the little critters out. All I used was that plastic netting stuff from Walmart, and I haven't been too thrilled with this stuff up to this point because it stretches and sags real bad, but hopefully it'll do the job. I didn't want to spend a whole lot of money or time on this, so I just took some dog-ear fence boards and ripped them down into 1/2-inch strips, and then just wove them in and out of the mesh and drove it into the ground and pulled the dirt up along the bottom. So hopefully this will keep them out, or Hope they don't want to get in there too bad. We've always had a lot of rabbits around here. This is the very first year that they've ever bothered anything in the garden. So there should be plenty outside the garden that they eat, because that's what they've been doing in the previous years. But you can see they've chewed up my beans, and it's time to put a stop to that. I also want to thank Tim Turner for his video about the weaving method. He used it on his tomatoes, but since I already had the cages on mine, but I used it on my peppers, and hopefully this will keep them from falling over, because every year I have the problem of the peppers getting so heavy that they fall over from the weight. Navajo Pa said he's had a lot of trouble getting okra to come up this year, that he never had that much trouble with it. Mine haven't done that well either. There's craziest things. Look how small they are, but yet they're getting ready to bloom already. They're just a little over a foot tall. I don't think I've ever had them bloom this short before. So mine are acting crazy too, but it took a long time for my soil to warm up this year. Here's something I haven't seen anybody else growing. These are kidney beans, and they're right productive. I'm surprised. And they had it hard because the rain pounded them to the ground at one point. So this is what the kidney beans look like. It's kind of like a flat green bean. I'm right pleased with the way they're producing so far. A long time ago, somebody asked me to do a video about how I make crabapple sauce and crabapple jelly, and I promised them I would. And then last year I didn't get any crab apples, but this year I have plenty. And a question I see on the internet a lot about crab apples is, how can you tell when they're ready? And you can tell by when the seeds inside turn brown. Here's what they look like right now. The seeds are red, and when those seeds turn brown inside, then they're ready to be picked. So as soon as these are ready, I haven't forgotten about the crabapple video. I just didn't get any crabapples last year in order to do it. So that's on my list still. And last but not least, Jim, here's my Israeli melons. They are just hanging in there. They're not anything stupendous yet. You see how big they are, and they look like they've put out a lot of growth in the last couple of days. Today it was up in the 90s, so apparently they just like a lot of heat. But they're getting ready to bloom. It looks like there's some little buds on it, so I'm still working on it. Hope it helps.